My pregnancy started out normal. The only thing that was a little off was they told us that I did have what they called as a heart-shaped uterus, but at 20 weeks they said that everything was looking perfect and we were right on track. And then on January 10th, 2015 at 9 a.m. in the morning, my water broke and I was in labor. We hopped in the ambulance and they took me up. They had given me a drug to stop the labor, but it did not work. And when I arrived to UAB, I was even more dilated, and they realized there was no stopping, that she was coming. And at 11:02 that night, she arrived. 4 pounds, 11 ounces, and 18.5 inches.
There was about 20 different people that came in and swooped her up and took her off to the side without me getting to cut the umbilical cord or basically even getting to see her. I guess the hardest part for me was having to actually leave for 3 days a week and come back and work, and just being away from them and not knowing what was going to happen from one moment to the next. We never heard her cry. We just had to sit there and wait. And luckily, they came and got me, and they were putting in the ventilator while we were waiting. And I just got a quick glimpse of her, and they just told me that she's okay and she was breathing. And I finally heard her cry, and it sounded about like a kitten crying. She was rushed down to the NICU, and it was not until 1 or 1:30 when we first got to actually see her. Seeing her for the first time was done so through a plastic incubator with about 100 wires hooked up to her and a ventilator.
As a mother, you always dream that, you birth the baby and the baby gets put on your chest and you have that loving moment. And I guess it was hard for me from the beginning because I didn't have any of that. I didn't get the baby placed on me. She was taken right away.
They were concerned about the size of her cerebellum. It wasn't as developed as the rest of her brain. And along with that came a syndrome called Dandy Walker that we knew nothing about. They found out that there was a little fluid in the inside of her brain that wasn't draining as well as it should be. So they talked to us about having a surgery.
And there's always possibility of seizures that we would need to watch out for, along with, since the cerebellum was smaller, it could affect her motor skills, such as walking and talking. And you kind of just wonder, like, why my child? Why this happened to my child? And it was a scary moment. We thought we were going to have a healthy baby girl, and in that moment, we didn't know what the future held.
Finally, at 41 days after birth, we got to go home.
We're in speech therapy and physical therapy and occupational therapy. She is delayed with walking and talking, but overall she's healthy. She was later on diagnosed with low growth hormone and low thyroid, so we are doing growth hormone shots every day and a thyroid pill. But in the end, if that's all we ever have to deal with, then we're lucky.
We've learned to not look at everybody else's kids and look at their timetable, because we've realized that we're on our own timetable. Really, it's up to Caroline and God.
The March of Dimes provided lots of services for us while we were in the NICU, from coming by with snacks every day to just coming and checking in on us, which in the end was a breath of fresh air to have visitors and people who had been there.
Because of some of the research directed by the March of Dimes, we were able to bring Caroline home. But we realized that there are still way too many babies and their families don't get that chance. Therefore, it is very important for us to support the March of Dimes so that they can continue the life-saving research that is so desperately needed in order to give babies that much more of a fighting chance. So, from us, we would just like to say thank you for your continued support.